it talks about right. I'm going to read up more, and then when I come down to the paragraph, I will make it out. On page 248, do you have that? Right. It says there, a shout. You see a shout? Good. A shout, a command. The word occurs only here in the New Testament. In non-biblical writings, whatever that word is used as an officer issuing orders to his troops or a quieter, right, thanks, sister, urging his horses. It is not clear from the Greek construction whether Christ utters the command or whether another being cries aloud as the Lord descends. But contextual evidence favors Christ as the speaker. And it says, see below about an archangel. No specific reason is here given for the shout, but the shout, the voice of the archangel, and the trump of God are immediately followed by the rising of the dead in Christ. Hence, the arousing sounds may be taken as preliminaries to the resurrection of the just. Christ comes from heaven, listen to this, proclaiming his victory. He has conquered death and the grave. No longer can the enemy, death, hold any of the redeemed in his cold grasp. The righteous dead respond to their Lord's command and arise from their graves. All right. That's the closest, best I have for the moment. Not finding anything in the Bible. But for me, Ellen G. White is as good as they come. All right. Brother James, are we on this subject still? Okay. I am satisfied with myself that the trump has something to do with the rise of the righteous dead. Right. But to narrow it down, and I'm mindful of Brother Saul, that the righteous dead alone understood, and that was directed at them. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I am not sure about. But it is very close that the shout, the trump, and the rising of the righteous dead are closely related. The living righteous at the time. If you go according to order, and I'm not weakening and dying out, but if you go according to Yes, the wicked wouldn't know that trumpet. If they knew that trumpet, they would get up. Another thing you must remember, when Jesus went to Lazarus' grave, he didn't want all the dead to come up. So he called Lazarus. So we have to put all of these factors together to say that the call of Jesus brought because he's the life giver. And they were sleeping there for hundreds, thousands of years. They couldn't get up unless there was something to pull them up. And that was the trump and the voice of Jesus. We together? All right, that's as the closest as I will come. I agree with you. We just said that. The unrighteous can't hear. That's why I see like that. Take it easy, take it easy. I yeah. John chapter 5, verse 28. Brother Foster's point is zeroing in on who hears the voice of Jesus. Can the unrighteous hear his voice? All right. We were alluding to the fact that they couldn't, and only the righteous would have heard. That's what we're alluding to before we see this, or before he spoke. That's why in the multitude of counsel there is safety. Matthew 5:28, marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice. No, the wicked dead will have to hear the voice of Jesus 1,000 years after the first resurrection. Brother James, you have a good point, but it is beside, it is somewhat, and don't get me wrong, no, I'm not knocking you, but it is beside the main point that we are getting at. Right, yes. The brother made a point. It satisfies the fact that the wicked dead can hear Jesus' voice from in the grave. Are we satisfied with that? Yes, because the Bible says so. And I don't quarrel with the Bible. But the thing is, I don't know if they hear the voice of Jesus when he comes the very first time. I don't know. That resurrection is for the righteous. The wicked have no business in this until 1,000 years later. But when the 1,000 years come later, for the wicked to come up, because it's only Jesus can give them life, they have to hear his voice. So we are satisfied that the righteous and the wicked can hear the voice of Jesus from in the grave. As to who come up is a different matter. In the first resurrection, it is the righteous. 1,000 years later, it is the wicked. I did not go to the partial one. You're asking a question now. No. You are right, Brother James, but I did not touch the partial resurrection. I go bit by bit. Yes, sister. What you answering, Brother James? About those who crucified Jesus? Revelation 1 verse 7 says, Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, they also which pierced him, and all kinds, kindred of the earth shall wail because of him. Now, you're saying, and that's what I kind of understand too. Don't ask me where I find it now. But they could have been up watching Jesus come. Those who crucified. You'd have to show it to me. No, let's go with Bible first. No, yes, but I'm reading it and see where. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him, and all kindreds of the earth. What this? The Bible have a way of repeating things as if to make emphasis. It says every eye shall see him, but it put a focus on those who pierce him. It doesn't say anything about when they will be resurrected. It right here. All right? I could put in something in it to say that Jesus would come in the twinkling of an eye. But when he's coming, even Spirit of Prophecy made it clear, you shall see him, the first appearance is the size of a man's hand. So it's going to take him a while to come down. In that minute, those who could be awake. I'm not. I'm just putting something on the table. I'm not disputing you. Because this don't give me a good sense of when they were raised. Randy Skeet says, and I like him as a preacher, him say you must read microscopically and let the Bible talk for itself. You have a point, you're right. That's the way I understand it. But that's not what the Bible says. Go ahead. Partial resurrection. They will be resurrected to see Jesus coming. They will see him because the Bible says they have to see him. All right. Are we kind of on the same page? All right. If you're saying something that we need to know, even if it don't make any sense, say it, and we will clear it up. But I don't need to hear. Correct. So, Brother Saul, we have dealt with your good question thus far, but I'm not yet finished with it. But I'm satisfied with what we have done so far. Okay? All right. We're going to move off from that. I don't know about those people who don't come yet. Let us answer these questions. Let us finish the questions. Um, Sister Marlene Williams. Sharon Aiken. Is the person here? E. Anderson. All right, not here. Merle Hill, please. Normally, I don't give out people's private answers, you know. Marlene Williams. No, that's Sharon Aiken. All right, okay. Iska, not here. For Iska? Yeah, right. Mail it to her. Chelsea Henry. You want to take those from last week and mail it to them for me, please? Chelsea Henry. All right. Sophia Cloud. I think that's sister. L. Campbell. Brother Lawford, not here. Althea Marriott. Not here. Valerie Stewart. Not here. Brother Marshall. And Talia. Yes, please. Sister Abel. Sister Romeo. Doing that for me. Sister Talia. Valerie Blake. All right. Can you hand it to the help Mel, please? Brother Albert, not here. Michael, not here. Sister P. Charles, not here. Doreen Thomas, she's not here. All right. Is that the lady that sang this morning? Is that she? All right. Brother Brown, Winston Brown. Ruth McCullough Gowie. Alan Henry. Henry. And somebody has L-E on it. I don't know how I must help you. And Charlotte Henry. Yeah. But I didn't hear, I don't know if Melanie did it. I don't see any paper for her. All right, good. Brother Abel, please come here, sir. Well, too bad for she. Too bad for she. Can't have anything hidden from your partner. This is your wife's paper. Yes, no, that's her paper. Yes. All right. So I have some more, and they are right here. Okay. Let's move through. When the others come, they'll get their paper. The first one is, most of you did fairly well. As usual, I mark hard. No question about that. You see, let's take in the first question. It says, I will come again. And if you notice, it has what you call open and closed quotation. You know what I'm talking about? Two little things to begin and to close. Inside that, you don't play. You have to put precisely what the thing says because you are quoting and you cannot put what your mind says. This says, I will come again, John 14, verse 3. The next one, as the lightning cometh out of the east, shineth unto the west. That is Matthew 24, verse 7. Then we go down. What we just talked about, the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with the of the archangel and the trump of God. Now, this one got many people. I don't know why it should. What the Bible means by second coming of Christ is that Jesus comes into your heart when you invite him and accept him as your Savior. Is that the second coming of Jesus? Yes. It cannot be true. The second coming of Jesus is what we just read in Revelation 1 verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. Right? So that is false, 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 false. And then, could John the Revelator use human language in a more clear, emphatic way about the visible nature of Christ's coming than to say simply, every eye shall see him? Besides the fact that the wicked are all struck by lightning, the brightness of his coming, another cataclysmic, catastrophic event in connection with Christ's return, is only great can go there. Such as that we are going to study now has to do with the three angels' message. So I went to the Bible commentary. For those who don't have it, at the back of the Bible commentary, it has the text, and then each text refer you to the writings of Ellen G. White. Could be 1 book, 2 book, 3 book, or 5 books. So I copied that for you, and I'm going to give you this because some of you don't have the Bible commentary. What I'm doing is giving you a chance to read what we shall study here. I know when you go home, you're going to take it and show it to her, but I would have done my duty. So when I give this to you at the end, I will make one statement. Okay, now, we are entering into this evening's study. So whatever you have and didn't have, or whatever it is, put those away. Those are finished with. Sister Talia, please sit down. Thank you. Now, we are finished with whatever we were doing. We are going in a new phase starting this evening's study. Okay? With me. Raise your hands to the one you love the best, and shake hands with those nearby. separation of the before Christ, and we are now in AD. How many years separated the Old Testament from the New Testament? How many years were between the two testaments? I hear 4,000. How many years? 400 years between Malachi and Matthew. 400 without a prophet or a messenger in Israel. 400 years. So that is a wide gulf, and that is what we just did when we sang Smile a While. 400 years. That's this evening's work. All right, you have your paper. This rendering is from Mark Finley, and this is a simplified rendition of the three angels' message. And we all know that the three angels' message, Revelation 14:6-12, is a key iconic doctrine of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm going to be facetious enough to say that only the Seventh-day Adventist Church can really preach the three angels' message. Very, very facetious statement. But only if you are close to the Bible and obey the Bible as close as possible can you come to give this last message. Adam and Eve sinned, misbehaved some 6,000 years ago. And when earth closes up at the coming of Jesus, between Adam and then will be 6,000 years. Now, I don't have a time clock to measure it specifically to tell you, but on God's time clock, it's 6,000 years. And then when Jesus comes the first time, begins the millennium, which is 1,000 years, until he comes back, if you want to call it the second, or the third time. This time he's now going to execute judgment on those who don't obey him, or who don't love him, or who join the devil and rebel against his order. So they can't be with him to begin the new earth all over again. Am I making sense? When we began with Adam and Eve, that was a beginning, but it was mashed up. Jesus wants to start all over. Isaiah 65 verse 17. Behold, I create a new heaven and a new earth. Maybe I don't say it right, but you find that. So after the fire is extinguished, that burn in hell, because it won't be an everlasting, lasting fire, the earth will be clean. And therefore, Jesus can truly say, I will make all things new. And we settle down, and Nahum 1 verse 9 says, affliction shall not rise the second time. And that's why God, to use my language, is making sure that not one drop of even unbelief moves over into the beginning of the new earth. You have to be spick and span, clean, to get over there, because him not plan to do another 6,000 years again. You get a picture? All right, good. So, he's now doing all he can. For 6,000 years, man has not listened to him. We are prone to do what we want to do and to follow the devil's lead. And that's why we are where we are. Now, God is merciful. Genesis 6 verse 5, I believe, says, and every thought of the heart of his imagination, or imagination of the heart, was only evil continually. You can't want a text that went down deeper in hell than that. And that was the antediluvian word. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be the coming of the Son of Man. I think if we were to see Noah now and talk about today's day, would have to apologize to Noah. That's how bad it is. Now, God is in a hurry to clean up now. And don't get me wrong when I say that I'm using my language. He can't stand this thing anymore. Based on Genesis 6 verse 5, he can't take any more of this. So he's about to clean it up. And I don't blame him, because this is not his fault. He has done everything to make it right. So, he, as always, God has never sent punishment to any individual or a set of people without giving more warning than you can count. He always sends warnings and send plead and please and please. And I think I said last week or the week before, but it can stand repetition. Anybody who is lost will have to go before God's throne, pull him off of it, and take over. That's how serious it is if you are lost in hell. You have done everything to put God aside. All right? So that's the situation. So God is sending a last message in person of the three angels. And the three angels' message, the first one, started in 1831. This is during the time of the, all right, let's go back a little. There was a persecution of 1260 years. Anybody know that? From AD 538 to 1798, papal persecution. This was when the devil was really rough, and somewhere between 50 to 100 million Christians were killed. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that the devil made, because every one of those people who he killed and who were faithful, he has to bear their punishment. So you see how serious a mistake he must have made. All right. Good. So, in 1798, that persecution finished. And there was an awakening all over the world of righteousness, because the Bible, like in the French Revolution, where the two witnesses were killed, you know that, I can't go into that. The earth was swept with just pure ungodliness. The Waldenses, the Huguenots, and all those had to be in the caves hiding. Righteousness was about wiped out of the earth. And then there had to be a reawakening. So God had his messengers that he would need for this time, because the Martin Luthers, the Zwingli, the Jeromes, and all that, those were killed by the beast, by the papacy. The Bible says so, I didn't say so. It's the papacy, and history says so. So all over the world, general people rise up and were preaching. I don't know all of them, but the one that I know that affects me more seriously is what the great controversy called the American Reformer. That is William Miller. We know all that too well. And William Miller didn't know anything concerning Seventh-day Adventism as it is now. That was not to be so. Because I don't know anything that really said. Most likely, the Sabbath was around, but hidden, because the woman had to flee into the wilderness. Don't trouble me now, Brother James. I give you time. I give you time. Yes, thank you. Yes. The righteousness and the righteous people had to flee the earth. So they were coming back slowly but surely all over the earth. And in the American continent, the iconic reformer was William Miller. And he preached against all odds. Because what he was preaching at that time, coming up, it was against guys like Darwin. His message was like against Darwin. The guy who bring in communism, Engels, Marx and Engels, thank you, brother, pastor of a witness. Those. So a lot of, and this little woman, Alicia Bailey. Yeah, she was like the counterpart to Ellen G. White. So a lot of, wherever God set up his tent, the devil is going to pitch near there. Yes. So a lot of these were coming up. And so in 1831, the big sounding of the first angel's message, somewhere in there, 31, 32, whatever it is, began. And came on all the way to 1844, when William Miller and his team made the prediction, that Jesus would be coming back in 1844. Based on the 2300 days prophecy, they were right, except that they misunderstood I'm going to use that word to be kind, misunderstood where the sanctuary to be cleansed was. They took it to be the earth. And the cleansing of the sanctuary, if it is the earth, it means Jesus would have to come and make a new earth. Understandable. But it wasn't so, because the cleansing of the sanctuary in heaven is a pattern of the earthly sanctuary. So on the Day of Atonement, no, all year the priest went into the holy place once a year, once a day or week, whatever it is they did, and did all the pardoning of sins of the congregation, rested on the head of the lamb, and then they pour blood on the altar and burn it. So the sanctuary, technically, was dirty, for want of a better word. Dirty with sin and with blood. Sometimes I wonder how it smells. But you're dealing with blood. So that took place all year. And then now, on the 10th day of the 7th month, which is the Day of Atonement, we had the ceremony which is called the cleansing of the sanctuary, where the high priest now could go into the most holy place and confess on the head of the goat, that one that was not for the Lord, and the other one which was for the Lord. His blood was shed, and that was taken into the most holy place, sprinkle around the mercy seat, ask for forgiveness, come back to the door, and then confess on the head of the poor other goat, and then a fit man had to take it out into the wilderness. All right? Now, that is a play out. If you're going to Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, that is a play out of what would happen in terms of the closing down of earth and judgment. Now, that's a fast way to say a lot of things. But that brings us now to the calling back of the righteousness and people who were supposed to do that. So William Miller was one, and he preached. So the 1844 was the end of the 2300 days, and that is when Jesus finishing the most holy. Some people are doubting that. He finished in the holy. The holy was finished with. So he had to go to the most holy now. Am I right? Okay. Keep it straight. Yes. So he had to go to the most holy. So it played out just like what happened in Israel. Play out just like that. So, but some people like Wentworth Joseph, that's a new one. Baldwin, that's some of the new theologians on the scene. But one of the old ones is like, I forget his name now. But they are saying that the business of the investigative judgment and the sanctuary, that is not biblical. And Seventh-day Adventists should throw away that. No, we can't do that because that is biblical. Right. This leads us now to God in his mercy decide now to send a last warning message out. Last warning message. So we read in Revelation, and I saw Revelation 14:6-12. Every Seventh-day Adventist should know that. Not yet. Every Seventh-day Adventist should know that. Revelation 14:6-12. Now, verse 6. Now you can repeat that and we stop. Revelation 14 verse 6. How that go? Yes, please. Right. So that was the first angel coming forward. And his his language was, verse 6, his language was, 1, fear God. You have heard this so often. Give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, the sea and the fountains of water. So it is saying, fear God. It is a call to worship. That's the first angel. And I said that began somewhere in about 1830, 31. So that's about where it is. That's the first angel. Flying where? In the midst of heaven. What does that mean? Very visible. God wanted everybody to see it. And you and I are, what must I call now? The angels, so to speak. We are the carriers of the gospel. And Seventh-day Adventists, a lot of people still don't know that there's some set of people on the earth named Adventists. Yes, we are hidden. So we need, you and I need to do our little bit to show off Jesus to the world under the guise of the first angel, to carry the first angel message. Fear God and give glory to him, because man has turned from fearing and worshiping God to basically worshiping himself. His money, I ain't calling any name. Going to space is what man wants to do. But I'm sorry for them. I'm going to get a free ride to space. I don't have to pay. It's $20 million to make one shoot up. And when some of the guys go up there, it's just about a 20-25 minutes ride, and you come back down for $20 million. That's not my ride. And my ride don't have any fire under me pushing me up there. I'm just going up at the power and the might of wings given to me by Jesus himself taking me home. Right? So I wait on that. So that's the first angel. And the worship of God has gone from the earth. We worship everything now but God. And outside of ourselves, we worship our money, we worship our authors. Do you look into the newspapers and see the race for who is the richest man on earth? Have you been watching those? And then among the sports figures, which one, whether it is LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, and the rest, you know them because you watch them, who are in a race to become billionaires or millionaires. And every now and then you see their houses. Yeah, the billionaires race. Million is foolishness now. Yes, going up there. All those guys. The race is for these little poor kids from out of the hood. I'm happy for them, coming up to be billionaires. So they're worshiping themselves. We worship our sports figures. We worship all those people. God does not get the worship that he should get. So therefore, the first angel is calling back to a worship of Jesus. Because if you put the worship of God in place, then everything else will fall in place. Right? Because God will see to that. So that's the first angel. And then the second angel, I'm looking at the paper that you have in your hand, but I might read something off it, but I'm just giving it to you, the shortened version. If you doubt what I'm saying, this is Mark Finley's version, and that's where I'm going with. The second angel is verse, I see your hand, Brother James, but I'm not taking you now. Verse 8. What verse 8 said? I notice it is going on the screen, so you're getting away. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her. That is the second angel. The dragon. Excuse me. No. Babylon, I mean. Babylon. Who is Babylon? False worship. False system of worship. And remember, yes, yes, yes. Remember, where does this name Babylon come from? Where's the very beginning of this Babylon business? Babel. Tell me something about Babel. Educate me on Babel. Mhm. Right. And Babylon, what she's accused of, she make all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. That's a kind of mix-up story. But what kind of wine is that? Oh, yes, I hear it. False doctrine, right? And there's another wrath in Revelation chapter 17. We're not going there, but that is the harlot with the cup in her hand, full with the abomination of the earth. Those are cousins and sisters, if you in terms of what we are studying. So Babylon is fallen, that great city. So that's a warning out there. Worship, you either worship God or you worship the system of Babylon. Now the first angel says, worship God. For all I care, the system of worship of God, for all I care for the moment, is still in place. And the first angel is calling to that. Now when you move to the second angel, it now says that you don't have much choice to worship anything else except Jesus, because Babylon is what? Fallen and gone. Babylon is down, right? And what Babylon has done is her bad wine. She has given it to the nations to drink. And that is false doctrine. And you know who is Babylon now. It was Rome, which was the seat of, that's the last kingdom of the four. Remember, the first one was the Babylon. First one was Babylon. Come again. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and then Rome. You got to watch Rome, because Rome burst out into two pieces eventually. You have political Rome, which was iron, and then you have way down in the feet somewhere there, you have it turned papal Rome. Somewhere after fighting and quarreling and a lot of wars and all that, about AD 530. Notice I say about. That's when you have the beginning of the ascendancy of the papacy. All right? And they really took a stronghold about 538 to, what was it again, the 1260, when did that end? 1798. So the papacy was in its ascendancy at that time. It was, you had to reckon with the Pope. You had to reckon with Rome. No, you have to do it now, but at that time you just had to reckon with Rome, or you face the guillotine or whatever else. They don't play. The stake, the guillotine, they don't play. But 1798, the prophecy points out that God had to intervene somewhere and cramp their style. And they weren't as strong, because can you imagine somebody take the Pope, who was so big and so mighty, a general sent his under-general to go capture him and put him in chains and take him away from Rome. And that was when the dynasty of the Pope get a serious blow. But Revelation 13 says that, called that a wound, right? And it said that the wound would be healed. Am I alone? Oh, all right, good. You're just waiting till I slip up to catch me, right? That's good. I like that. Right. Yes. So, yes, sorry. Yes. Now listen now. Don't play with me now. That's a teacher backing me up there. You see, Brother Louis, if I'm being corrected, I'll get a nice red marker. I'll get a tick. Yes, thank you. Yeah, right. So, the Rome, you have the political Rome, and then we came over to papal Rome. Um, and now, political Rome was bad. But can you imagine when you look into somebody for leadership, for guidance in what is right, that person is a hypocrite? That's harder to deal with than the person who is openly wicked. Yes. A man come and hug you up and nice, and the next thing you know, a knife is in your chest. I'm afraid of that person. The guy who comes to me with a gun and says, stick it up, blam, blam, I respect him. Because he comes to do what he wants to do. And that's what is happening now with what is happening in Rome. If you go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 1, what does it say? Revelation 13, verse 1. But brother, don't you put it on the screen already. All right. See. And a beast came up out of the sea. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Finish? You finish at verse 1. Yeah. But that beast, I think that beast is the dragon, and he went on to give his in verse 13. Right. Wait 1 minute. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Give me 1 minute. All right. The first verse describes this beast. Multiple bear, lion, leopard mixed up. And no, that's not it either. I'm looking for the beast who is the dragon, and he gave unto the second beast his seat and his power and his authority. Right. And they worship the dragon. Who is the dragon? Which gave power unto the beast. That is the beast of verse 1. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, and who will be able to stand. And he had a mouth speaking great things for 40 and 2 months. That is the same as the 1,260 years of persecution. So that was the dragon who gave his seat and his power and his authority to the papacy, which is Rome. And then in the bottom part of Revelation chapter 13, the same chapter, there's another beast. That's the lamb-like beast. All right? That is verse 11. And that one, this now is a miracle. So you have in chapter 13, the dragon, and then he gave his seat, his power, his authority to the first beast coming up out of the water, and that beast was very strong, and that is the papacy. And the third beast there was the one that came out of the land, verse 11. And this one, what I wanted to get to show the three beasts, this one is the United States of America. Speak as a dragon. They call him the lamb-like beast. No. Have we mixed up anybody that you're sitting down and you're completely lost? Because what I have done, as Sister Paul will say, is just each of what I have done, most of it is a study by itself. But except for Brother Saul, who I have little mercy on, Brother Saul, and let me see. I don't know how long Brother Dehaney in the church. Sister, I would never stay up here and tell you what I just told Sister God. Yeah, right. So, those three beasts, we have identified them. And you have to try to do some identification. Which leads me to this before I give it to you. I was telling you about this. Revelation 6 to 12 is here. And I went into that big book, the commentary, and I carved out, and I made some notes here for you, and give you to go home in your spare time for you to read. Because sometimes you read the actual Bible itself, and you get hitched. But beside each text is Ellen G. White's writings. And if you just read, sometimes it's just a paragraph you have to read, and it explains the text for you. I can't do anything more than that for you, because you have to help yourself, especially in these last days. So everyone will get one of this when you're leaving. All right? Oh boy, I have to go back to Daniel. You just asking me a question to pull my legs, you know. But the kingdoms are usually, when you see a horn and when you see a beast, it's a kingdom. That makes sense? And in Daniel, you had 4 beasts: lion, bear, leopard, and then the nondescript beast, which is Rome, which is a kingdom. All right? Am I good, Brother Foster? All right. I get a tick mark there. Right. Well, yes. What we were on, and we look like we varied, but we haven't varied. We come right back to what I'm saying. God is closing up on the 6,000 years, coming to you, closing up on the 6,000 years. And we went through a lot of patchwork, and bring several things together to bring us down to the 1844 situation with the first angel, and then the second angel, which was to go up there, and we were going on to the third angel to get the 3 angels' message, which is what this week's study is all about. I didn't have to do all of that. We could just read this. But you needed, to me, you needed the background to understand where we're coming from. Let me see anybody who I have confused, because I would owe you. You're not confused, Brother James. All right, good. Anybody has any questions? I go through a lot of things. Brother Foster just asked a question. How do I go from beast to to Rome. Yeah. Daniel 7 give you that. Yeah. Brother, let me hear you, brother James. And you're not going to. No, 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 no. I'm not going to give you the privilege to do all of that, to do the first beast. Unless, wait now, unless somewhere in there I state some false doctrine to the brethren, and you want to correct that false doctrine with Bible, you're free, because I stand corrected. If you're not doing that, let me hear what you have. What? Wait. I given. Eh? Wait. I like to see if I can bring some order. I hear you, brother. Brother James, maybe I run too quickly.
That's what I'm saying.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
But I had to do what I had to do. And what you are giving me there is good. But you are giving me details of the persecution that reigned from 538 to 1798. Where we want to reach, which we had somewhere gone there, was the time of the Reformation in the 1844 movement, which is this. But when I reach here, I backtrack a little to make something clear to come here. You are giving me details of what I passed through. I am not looking and I can't take details now. What I have gone through could have been 3-4 months of study on a weekly basis to do in detail what you have just done. And I applaud you for that. But we're just moving through to make the three angels' message fall into a sequence and fall into perspective. That's why I went back to where I go back to. So what you're saying there now is good, but we passed that. And therefore, I thank you.
Yes, brother.
Just Brother James. 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 Did you understand what I just said? Brother James. No, it's not a different topic. It's the same thing. Brother James, what you have done is good. But I pass that this way. Pass skirting. You are walking I walk on the highway. You are going into the lanes and crevices. I am not going there. No, I'm not going there. Not this evening. No. No, you're a teacher. See if I am wrong. I want to hear the brother James. So explain to me. One minute, Brother Foster. Are we okay, Brother James? No. Yes, that's where we're going. But I am. Eh? No, I'm going to deal with that before you have a chance to say anything on it. No, you're not going to get to sit. You're not going to get to do it. I'm telling you from now. I love you, Brother James. All right. Now, are we together? Do we understand what is happening? All right, good. 1 minute, Brother Foster. Don't change a word. Shall we stand for 1 minute? Shall we stand? Shall we stand? And I'm watching the time. Where's Brother Henry? All right. Smile a while and give your face rest. Raise your hands to the one you love the best. Then shake hands with those nearby and greet them with a smile. One more time. Smile a while and give your face rest. Raise your hands to the one you love the best. Then shake hands with those nearby and greet them with a smile. All right, okay. Sit down. Sit down, please. No, thank you, but no. All right, so we're going to, the reading that you have, you'll have to read it in detail. And when you do the quiz, it will bring it out in sequence. We did the first angel, We did the second angel, I believe. I hope I'd finish it. And now we have to go on to the third angel. I think. Yeah, yes, I had Brother Foster. But we're going to go to the third angel because time is going to be against me, and then we do the quiz. Have I lost anybody? The quiz is coming. Don't worry, the quiz will get there. I did not give it because I know you guys will start it before thing. So the quiz is the last thing. Sister O'Connor. All right. Brother, I'm sorry, but mm-hmm. That is correct. Mm-hmm. 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 So I agree with you. I don't know if I'm right, but you go down with the Bible, and many people don't believe the Bible. So you use history to back it up. But you make sure history is plain and Bible is plain, and where they meet together. Point well taken. Did everybody get the point? All right, good. All right. So let's see if we can pick up back with the third angel, because all that Mark Finley is doing on this is the last message, the last coming to you. Did I see a hand, brother? Oh, yeah. Is simplifying the third angel, the three angels' message. We know what the first one said. We know what the second one says. And we know, I think I departed on the second one about Babylon and the wrath. And so, can we move on now to the third angel? And then we wrap that up. Because that's why I was saying, except for Brother Saul, and I was concerned about going fast because Brother Saul had just come in. But everybody else, whether from the pulpit or wherever it is, our Sabbath school, or what you should have studied, you should have an idea of each of the topics that I touched on. All I did was to sort of draw them together to go down the road to the third angel's message. That's what I was doing. All right? So I shouldn't have lost anybody to that extent. If I did, I beg the Lord pardon. Okay. Now, the third angel now. Yeah, go ahead. It's up there. Read it, because we're going to say it after this. We're going to say it with it off the screen. Go ahead. We just poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they had no rest day and night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoso receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and have the test. Jesus Christ. Okay. So notice the first angel had a loud voice. And the second angel just come in with a normal voice. But the third angel also followed with a loud voice. And I think we are definitely in the sounding of the third angel. Because when we look at this Pope who carries the standard banner for the beast, the papacy, he carries it and wears it well. And he just came into power the other day. The Pope before him, not Benedict, John Paul, he traveled the world, just about every country. He was like the marketing guy. And he marketed what was to come down the pipe to the world. And Benedict come in and he got mixed up with the bank. That's why part of why he had to leave. Because the system of Catholicism, I don't want to go into that. If you read about that, one guy called it, it's just a series of what they call corruption and falsehood. It is evil moving as a church. Right. Okay. So, Benedict didn't have much time to do anything there. Then came this unusual Pope. He's a Jesuit. That's the first thing. The Jesuit and the regular papacy used to run side by side. You have the Black Pope and what they call the one in the Vatican. The Black Pope has power. He can push the thing. But the Pope in white, who is call himself Jesus, Daniel chapter 7 verse 25, blasphemy. He is the face of what is happening. And he make it look like it's a church. But when he can say, this Pope can say that Genesis is a fairy tale. That means you don't have any respect for the Creator. The first angel says, worship God and give him glory. This third angel called for the worship of the beast. And those two things are going to play out down the end of time. Because Mrs. White made it very clear that it will be the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the number one issue. There are several other issues that are important, but the Sabbath is the most distinguishing thing that make a difference between good and evil these days. And if you notice, the devil under Laudato Si, call it whatever you will, is wrapping the Sabbath Sunday business into climate change and family business. And before you know it, then burst the parcel open before you, and you thought it was a Christmas gift in there waiting for you, but it's a bombshell, a spiritual bombshell. You're going to be forced by digital system, the change of the currency, and everything that comes down to the head of the river, as my mother would say, and when it wash out there, is the Sunday law facing it. Now let me see those who listen to State Line Church. Anybody here? You listen to State Line? They have a pastor, their pastor, an African pastor, Pastor Awu, something like that. Sometimes him sound like him crazy, like him mad. But believe me, he ain't mad. He's right on time. State Line Church. You can get it on YouTube. I recommend you listen to him. I went there when I was up that way. Went there one Sabbath. The guy preached for an eternity, but it was the truth. Brethren, an appeal now. Wake up. It is upon us. Sunday law is going to bust open shortly. All right. Yes, yes. Is it what time? When we are here? The right time, yeah. But yes, you can go to YouTube and put in State Line SDA Church and it will come up. Sometime in the nights, brethren, I'm interfering with it, but it's for your own good. In the nights you wake up, and sometimes you can't sleep for whatever reason. Go to the TV, don't turn on a movie, turn to State Line and listen. Another place that I advise you to listen is Walter White. Those guys go into the nitty-gritty of the present day and how it is going to unfold. Those people, you see? So, bear that for yourself, right? So, this has to do with the worship of the beast. And that's the third, where am I? Come on, I'm mixed up. The third angel. The third angel of the Lord. Listen, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, there's something about receiving it in your hand and receiving it in your forehead. Whichever place you receive it, once you didn't get the seal of God, you're in trouble. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not going into the details. And notice in verse 10 what is going to happen. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Listen, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of God's indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. The smoke of their torment ascended up for an ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image and who receive his mark. And then after the third angel languages of death and destruction is finished, we come back to who God's people are. Verse 12, those who the patience of the saints, what do? They keep the commandments of God. That means they don't keep Sunday. They keep the Sabbath, and they have the testimony of Jesus. Revelation 19 verse 10, the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Right. So we are to carry the three angels' message. And lastly, I'm not even going to open the Bible, but Revelation chapter 18. It says that there's an angel that come down from heaven with power and great glory. Revelation chapter 18, 1 to 4. And he cried with a loud voice, repeating the second angel's message. Babylon is fallen, and therefore come out of her, my people. That's the last call. And that last call, God is waiting to do it right now. What is between us and that is the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, the latter rain. Because you need the latter rain to prepare the people who are prepared to carry the last message. It's a select set of people which is being selected now. No details. And many are called, but few are chosen. And when it said chosen, don't mistake that. But few elect themselves to be chosen. That's how the text reads. Because God don't have any discrimination. Anywhere you don't get saved is you, not God. So when you are called to come into the church and you choose to come in and sit down and lock down on the message and don't pour it out, you're in trouble. You don't elect yourself to be chosen. So you must keep yourself in line to receive the latter rain. And when the latter rain is fully poured out, then the church, not just half of the church, then the church is empowered now to carry the message that Revelation, the angel in Revelation 18 talk about. It come down with power and that's the last message. Come out of her, my people. Right? And that's what we're waiting on now. Marion Oaks, the Lord is waiting on us. All right. Let's go.